Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. After a completely unplanned break from filming here on YouTube, I am so excited to be back. It feels good to be back in front of the camera, and today's series is kicking off all about client consultations. So this is a question that has come up a lot inside of my Facebook community and with my one-on-one students. We've been talking through all of the different stages that we might go through as an inquiring couple might reach out, and then what we can do to actually increase our chances of booking them. This is a super important conversation because I know that you guys are hustling to get clients, and if we get all the leads in the world, but we can't convert them into paying customers, it almost doesn't matter. So this part, the sales part of the conversation, is huge and it's crucial. And I'm seeing that it's kind of a hang-up point for some of my students, and it might be for you as well. So if you feel like you're getting leads, but you're having a hard time getting them to reply to your emails or meet with you or book you after meeting with you, then this series is for you, because I have some really tangible, simple yet effective ways, things that you can implement into your business that are going to be within your control, that will make it more likely that you're going to be booked for your services. So I'm super excited to dive in. So let's get started. So along with this series, I created a guide. You can get it down below in the description section. It's going to have a breakdown of everything that we're going to be going over during this series. So if you want to jump ahead and see where this is going, grab the guide. Not only that, but it has a client consultation worksheet. So basically a sheet that you could take to your next consultation to guide the meeting and really help you to keep the conversation flowing. If you are someone that gets a little hung up on what questions to ask or wanting to make sure that you get all the pertinent details for their wedding, this is going to be helpful for you. So be sure to grab that guide. So the way that I like to think about client consultations is broken down into 3 sections. So we're going to be making 3 videos. The first is before the meeting, during the meeting, so the meeting itself, and then after, and that's your follow-up. And each one of these is absolutely crucial to converting your meetings at a really high rate. So right now I'm going to be going over the before the meeting phase, and I have 5 specific steps that I take before I sit down with a couple so that I know when I sit down we can make the best use of the time that we have together, and I'm a lot more likely to actually book that client. So the first thing that I do is I reply extremely fast to my wedding inquiries. Now I reply fast to all of my inquiries, but especially for weddings, I know that when a bride or groom is navigating online and they're reaching out to vendors, they're very likely reaching out to a handful of vendors in every single category. So it is absolutely crucial that you're able to reply very quickly, not only with a reply, but give them the information they need. And one trick that I have is that I reply with a time that I'm able to meet either by phone or in person. And by doing so, I'm a lot more likely to get a reply and to get a meeting with them. So by being really, really quick and proposing a very specific time, you're more likely to book that meeting. And that's what we need. We need more people to sit down with us as photographers and meet with us so that we're able to book more of those sessions, right? So the more replies you can get to your emails, the more likely you are to actually have the consultation to begin with. The next thing I like to do is set the expectation for the consultation. So I let them know how long a consultation will take. I let them know that it's actually pretty brief. It's about 20 minutes long. It can be longer if they have questions, but I don't want them to be hesitant to jump on the phone or to meet up in person thinking that this is going to take an hour and I'm going to give them a whole sales pitch. The point here for me is to make that face-to-face or voice-to-voice connection. I want to get off of email as quickly as I can, and it really helps to set an expectation with them of what you'll be covering in that meeting. So not only how long does that take, but what kinds of things are we going to be discussing. So I like to tell them that I'm going to be going over my collections, how I work, and what collection might be right for them. So we can go over a timeline and let them know which package would be a good fit. So by letting them know how a consultation goes, you're setting that expectation with your client as to what for them to expect, very literally. But that's really important, because if you're pushing for the meeting but they don't actually understand why you need to meet, it's going to be more difficult to get them over the phone or even in person. So by sharing with them the benefit of that meeting and what they'll be learning, you're more likely to get a yes. So the next step is to choose a meeting location. So nowadays I do a lot of my meetings over the phone or via Zoom or just like a video chat like FaceTime. But I will tell you that something I have found in my own business, and I've heard to be true of other photographers' businesses, is that when you meet in person, you are more likely to convert that meeting, at least as far as it's been for me. I think the reason for this is they are more qualified leads if they actually meet with you in person. It's a little easier to hop on the phone, right? Like that's not a big commitment. So I think for that reason, pushing for a in-person meeting, especially when you're really hustling in the beginning, can be really worthwhile. But phone meetings and video chat meetings are really powerful as well. I would say if you have the option between the two, definitely go for video so you can try to get that face-to-face connection. So I've always met with my clients in a public space. I don't have my own studio that I meet with clients in or a rental space. So just so you know, if you don't have a fancy studio, it's still very possible to book ideal clients for your wedding photography business. If you do have a studio, all the better. That's awesome. You can have your work around you and hung up behind you on the walls. Maybe you could do a slideshow. I think you're at a unique advantage if you do have your own studio, but I don't want you guys to think that that's a necessity. I have met with my clients at Starbucks, Panera, mom and pop shops for years. We're coming up on 7 years and I'm still able to book those meetings. So just wanted to let you guys know as a piece of encouragement for you, if you don't have your own private space, which most photographers don't, you're okay and you have every ability to still book that client. So now we're still in this pre-meeting phase, right? And as a photographer, you need to be thinking about what you're going to bring to that meeting. I highly recommend that you bring 3 things at least to this meeting. The first thing is your portfolio. And I think a printed portfolio is the best way to go, especially for weddings. So having an album or 2 that your clients can flip through is super awesome because they're going to be able to see how you photograph the day, obviously, but you can talk through the timeline as they're physically flipping through the album. I find that having the physical album there and giving them something to do actually helps put them at ease because it's fun for them to flip through the images and they can talk between themselves about what they like, what stands out to them, what they would also like to see in their wedding album. So it really facilitates a good conversation. The second thing that you're going to want to bring is any kind of leave behind. Now, what's a leave behind? I like to give my couples a hard copy of the contract, a proposal. So if I know what collection they might want, I will give them a proposal. And if I don't know what collection, I'll just give them a roundup of my collections. So they need to be able to have something tangible in hand so that they can look over my policies and things like that. I also like to have a little thank you note or a gift of some kind so that I stand out because I know that I'm probably not the only photographer that they met with. And I really want to make that personal connection. So by having a little folder, I used to have like these little boxes that were branded that had all kinds of information about their engagement session, the contract, the pricing, everything like that, and then it had some candy and a thank you note. I think by having something like that that's branded, that is your leave behind, you are a lot more likely to be remembered. And I think that really helped me, especially when I was starting out and I didn't have a lot of experience besides, my one solid wedding season before to draw from, but I did have excellent client service. And so because of that, I was able to book a lot of my meetings. Like most of the couples that I met with booked with me, but I really think that it wasn't just the work, it was the experience, it was the care and attention, and it was the gift. So by having a little something that thanks them for the time that they actually spent meeting with you, I think that it really will help you stand out. Another way to do this, if you're doing virtual meetings just via Zoom or something like that, you could do like a $5 Starbucks card or $10 and say, coffee on me since we weren't able to grab coffee, that kind of thing. That way you really gesture. The gesture there is that you feel like you're telling them, I really appreciate your time. And I think that goes a long way in today's day and age because it feels like everybody's, trying to get them as a client, but not everybody is seeing them as human beings that are planning a wedding, and that's really stressful. And so anything that you can do to show that you care is actually really going to help you stand out. So the fifth step before the meeting is to arrive early so that you can grab a table, set up your, slideshow, your laptop, your portfolio, your albums, and get situated wherever it is that you're meeting. I think that you could even plan and arrive early to a virtual meeting as well by having links for galleries ready, frequently asked questions, things like that, maybe even a virtual tour of your album. If you're meeting with somebody over the phone or by video chat, you could record yourself flipping through an album. You could talk through the wedding day. I think there are so many ways to make this virtual, make this digitized in a way that still feels very human and feels very helpful for your couple. So even if you're meeting with your couples remotely, or maybe you're doing destination weddings and you can't meet in person with these people, think about ways that you could creatively give them more education, more service, and just be a little more human by creating a video specifically for your couples. One bonus tip is I like to send any necessary information before the meeting itself. So if you're not going to have all of the pricing information there, or a contract there, or anything in hand, go ahead and send that to them beforehand. That way, when you talk over your policies or you let them know what's next in the steps for booking you, you don't have to have them remember all of it. They already have it. So I like to send collections, pricing, and contracts to them digitally if I'm not going to have a physical copy with me, or if we're just meeting remotely. So next week, we're gonna be talking all about the meeting itself. Like, what questions do I ask? And how do we guide this meeting from, hi, it's nice to meet you, to, okay, now I'm your wedding photographer? Where is that transition, right? We're gonna be talking all about that next week. So be sure that you are subscribed and you have notifications turned on so that you don't miss out. Again, there is a guide all about everything we've been talking about here and that we're going to be going over in the next couple of weeks. And you can grab that in the description section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.